Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we are expecting a high of 91 degrees today. Can you believe that? And my husband and my brother, I only have one, they're together working at my company warehouse house in Central Oregon. They're getting that all together for me so that they can bring the stuff back to New Mexico and close that out up there. So it's bound to be another adventuresome day here. We have blue skies. The Corgi kids have been fed and they're resting quietly. I have to admit something though. I fumbled this morning and I was just moving my things around on my table next to my desk, and I happened to have these calming supplements for the corgis. So when they get overexcited, I can give them one. And they're pretty powerful. And you're not going to believe what happened. I dropped the whole jar onto the floor, and the lid popped off, and my lady Guinevere immediately ran for the calming treats and took 3 of them. Now they're very powerful and you're only supposed to take one a day. And then King Arthur was so upset that she got there before he did. You know, he had to have some too. And I wouldn't negotiate with him. I only gave him one because I know she's overdone it. So she's outside on the patio right now, sleeping peacefully. I hope she's going to be okay. That's not going to cause an issue. And he is sleeping at the front door, waiting for Gary to come in. You know, you never stop to think about it, but when you have pets, they're used to daily habits as well. They, like my corgis, they need to be fed at 7 a.m. Mountain Time every day, their breakfast, and then at 5 p.m. Mountain Time in the afternoon. And it's like their little tummies are alarm clocks, because if you haven't got their meal prepared, they're at you. There's no way that you're going to get away with it. And so this morning was one of those days. And I have to admit something else to you all. One of my daily habits, of course, is I am not worth anything until I have my first cup of coffee. And so my husband has been, since 2019, after Pops passed away, he's been making my coffee for me each morning. Before that, of course, I mentioned Pop's name. Well, he was part of our family as well from 2001 until he passed away. But his story in working at the White House, everything was pomp and circumstance, as you must imagine. And he took over our coffee making in the morning, so I didn't have to pay attention to it. I do remember him coming to me right away, and my coffee making area was not, clean enough for him, and my coffee pot wasn't clean enough for him. So he took all that time, and then he decided to buy a new coffee maker, and he said he would make the coffee for everyone, and he would assure us that it would come out right and we didn't have to mess with it. Well, I remember when I went up when his girlfriend had passed away in Central Oregon, and I had a project up there and had to join him, that it was going to be an interesting thing about how our day started out, the daily habit thing. It's like, and you know what he did? I hadn't been in the door 10 minutes, and he said, "Leave the coffee making to me." And he went on the internet and researched coffee makers, front and back. And he found what he thought was, it was very costly, his solution. I did share that on Facebook more than once. And but he made the coffee. He had directions to that, and it was excellent coffee. So I was spoiled, and I got up today, and I had to make it myself. And I knew that my old story was, I had to have 3 of the scoops that I had in my ground coffee jar. I had to have 3 scoops of that for 12 cups of coffee. And I made it as I had remembered it. And then I remembered, geez, my coffee didn't taste the way it used to. So I went and I Googled that to see what was happening these days. And, lo and behold, it was something I learned way back in home economics. I got to tell you. And it's amazing how things have changed. But there's 16 tablespoons in a cup, and for 12 cups of coffee, I needed to have 3 scoops of what, of that. It would be 3/4 of a cup of the ground coffee, to add to that. So I really was right on. It was just me, but the coffee didn't taste the same. So I made a second pot, and I made it a little stronger, and hopefully I can get my act together today and share a few things with you and keep up with my daily habit. I have to admit, it is getting easier each day. And now on this day, I'm back at my Alienware laptop that was specifically created for me to be able to live stream from a laptop from no matter where I was. And everything seems to be running fine this morning. I think that what I need to do first is come back and check that it's streamed to all of my destinations, because what happened to me is that yesterday I checked and it did not, the application that I use for live streaming, I can stream up to 8 different destinations simultaneously. And it does all kinds of customization and so forth for each destination. And so it makes it very easy on me, but it didn't stream properly. And not only that, from this computer, I had all kinds of warnings. So it was kind of crazy. So it looks like Facebook once again has only shared 3 destinations on Facebook. And I literally sent it to 6, and the 7th destinations, what I sent it to was to YouTube. And all Facebook is showing me in my notifications is 3. And by the way, when I signed in first thing this morning on Facebook, there were a total of 12 notifications. 12! It's gone down to that. Go figure. Technology is not working like it said that it should be. I'm looking on my, because I'm coming with you audio, I'm not sharing the whole screen. I'm looking in here and see if I got that right. No. I'm having a little bit of a problem here. There we go. I wanted to, because it came up in my personal news feed, one of the pages I'm streaming to. This is incredible. And now here's one 20 hours ago, something that was posted, and that's on my feed. There's one from 33 minutes ago, 21 hours ago. And I know I have folks who are here all the time. So, because I have friends from all over the world, there's somebody logging in all the time. So it continues. What my point in bringing it up is that it just continues to be unpredictable and like it's trying to keep us out of getting current information. So let me check here to see what's happening. I'm going to go on to ChatGPT, and you know when I do that, I have to change what we call our the overlay that I use. I have to change it to reflect the visibility for what I am sharing. So if you hold on just a minute, I'm just going to bring switch that, and then bring my I'm going to turn it on to my ChatGPT screen, and you can see that there. And so I wanted today to just talk to you about the feature of creating a book with AI. It, when you, in the old days, we would set up an outline and then we would build from there, build our story. And I mean, it would take days to figure out exactly the topics that we want to discuss under, one set of keywords. And here I created a book that had 15 chapters. That's typically what I do because because I can find out enough information on that. So on this one, I use this keyword focus of online communities because that's what I talk about all the time. Your name, you can research the name of your book. You can research on here quite easily on any AI application. And before AI, there were several websites. If you just search them with your favorite search engine, it was easy to find. There were destinations where you could put in keywords, tell them what you, and this is before AI again, and tell them what you wanted to talk about, cover in that, and it would spit them out pretty fast. But with AI, I mean, this took less than a couple of minutes at most, to come up with my table of contents and then start working on the information, gives me an introduction and writes out my first chapter, and then I have to manually, I would manually address it to set how I wanted it to spew out the information after that. But here's where I've given it, I've asked it, it did 2 chapters, and then it said you've got 13, I had 13 to go. And so I just, here you can tell it how many words and so forth. And I see here this morning, I have not actually set any tone if I actually, so I'm going to do that automatically. You can tell my coffee hasn't kicked in 100% if you know me at all. And I'll be, just straightforward with you that I'm kind of concerned with my husband and brother up there working on the warehouse today. I mean, it's a very tall building and there's loads to do. So I'm just a little bit distracted, but I'm determined to keep up with this daily habit that I've got going on here. And I just remembered that I had not done pin the post to your personal profile if you're streaming to there. And that's whoops, and that didn't work. Let me try it again. I think this is it. Yeah, it is. Okay, so we're good to go on that. And so I get sidetracked here, but my whole thing in this time online has been all about connecting people online and having a destination that was safe for them to come to share their concerns. So, you had my experience as, offline was always, I always came forward with, how can I help? And I never heard that line repeatedly so many times as I did, in the COVID years. I would hear people say that all the time. And in developing community, it was the same thing, how to stick together. And quite frankly, I'm seeing now that here this morning that I'm having difficulty because I didn't create an outline of what I wanted to talk about, the key points that I wanted to talk about today before coming online. Because in my private life, my corgis were giving me guff about my husband not being here to do the stuff for them that he's been habitually doing every day for the last few years. And so, it's like, what's different? They need to feel comfortable too. So that is the human factor, and with the corgis not being settled, it makes it hard for me to be settled when I get going online. So let me go back in here, and if you will, get back, and I think what I was doing again was building out each of these chapters, and within less than an hour, I had a rough draft to work with. And this is the thing. Now you can see I'm just scrolling here. I'm looking for the long, see if there's any long dashes in there. That's what I'll call them, at the EM dash. And I had set this as a project in one of the projects within ChatGPT, and told ChatGPT I don't want to use them. I never used them before. And one of the things when they were setting this up, human beings were setting up this application, the AI application, is that whoever did it wanted to use a lot of EM dashes, and it drove those of us who were, writers, old school writers, it drove us all crazy, because that's clearly not a human writing that. It's just full of it. But as you can see here, it's pretty clean. I'm going on. Yeah, look at that. There is absolutely none that I see in there. And I didn't want, the other thing that the AI applications do is they tend to, when you think of a speech and so forth, you're doing an outline. So there's tons of bullet points, tons of lists and so forth. So it makes it very difficult to deal with. So on this, I'm going back here and I'm checking. Yeah. So on this day, on this particular day, I found out that, there we go. Yeah. That the computer was working fine again. And my primary computer, that is. But I got to tell you, I'm wiped out from the early stress from the morning when things, on the coffee situation, the kids acting up, they just didn't want to participate with me. And then I came in here into the streaming studio, and it worked perfectly in setting up everything. And I am one that I screenshot everything so that I make sure I know what my settings are and so forth. And all the destinations are there. But again, I'm not getting, and it also tells me who's viewing in these various destinations. As to whether that's reliable, I'm not quite sure. They've not been for me. I'll tell you that, because I get back and I see what the difference is, and it's extreme. So maybe, because I'm looking right now, is what I think I'm going to do, and seeing what's going on with Facebook this morning and how low the notifications are and what's happening at my end, I just might go live more than once today And while I'm working this out, I'm trying to get stuff done behind the scenes. Let me bring, now here is something else. With my application, I can, while I've been sitting here and blabbing away with you all, the one thing that I could do, I was checking in, here is on my profile on Facebook, just to see what was live and so forth. And you can see that there, that I've actually pinned it to my profile. And what is happening, and there are no new notifications. Watch. Oh, okay, so make a liar out of me. Let me check here. So it's like, okay, we know she's not, she's talking about us. We got to give her some stuff. Okay, then, fine. That's a computer, right? You got to know that that's the computer. It's crazy this morning. I think what I'll do, though, I want to make sure that I keep up with my goal. And I think what I'm going to do today, because of what's been happening and in my world here, I am going to stop streaming here at this time and come back in before the day is over, when I can figure out just what's happening, because it's kind of scary right now, quite frankly. And I will see you all on the other side and come back soon.